Hey, I got someone in the chat here. White Well-Being. Greetings, brother. Passing by to wish you well. Thank you kindly. God bless you, sir. Wishing you well in these times. Thanks for your visit. God bless. Hippocratic Oath. Hey, wow, the legend has returned. Yes, yes. Um, yeah, you know, inking comics is very peaceful. It brings me a lot of peace and comfort, and joy. So I'm in a place where I could really use some of that. So I decided, why don't I? Haven't done this in a long time. I haven't produced any shows in a long time, months. I suppose I should maybe make a little explanation for that. Um, I'll start off by saying that one of the other comic projects that I've been doing for a long time is going to be starting again. It's a certain client. If you guys know my channel, you'll know the Alliance. And so, they're paying me to do another installment of so many issues for that. So I will be doing more artwork again. I've got a lot going on in my life right now that is very time consuming. So there's a certain, I don't know how much I'll be streaming. I love to stream. I love hanging out with you guys. Obviously, these are very casual. There's no like big production value and dancing girls and explosions and car chases or anything like that. But that's fine. Anyway, so I don't know. I have to kind of manage those different things that are going on in my life, and try to do as much streaming as I can. Part of it in the long run, when the Alliance gets finally published and they kick it off or whatever, they set sail, then there's going to be a gigantic marketing campaign that goes with it. There is a lot of CGI art, animation, products. It's crazy. It's a really huge thing. I just, I can talk a little bit about it. It's a sort of a don't talk too much about it thing. More or less just to, get a big surprise when the thing finally comes out, But it's pretty mind bending. I the author and I created. It's a kind of like Stanley Jack Kirby type relationship where he's the writer and I'm the artist, and he comes up with these characters in the story, and I visualize and design the characters, and so he's got an entire universe. I mean, I don't even know how many characters I've designed for that world. Over 50 easily, easily. And the characters are kind of like memes. They're, I think I've talked about this on previous shows. They're if memes were superheroes or supervillains. That, try to imagine that. So, we live in a kind of a meme culture, and some memes come and go, and you don't see them that much anymore. But they're still known. They're kind of still in the zeitgeist, if you will. So, and this writer, he's very smart. He's very clever. So the way that he imagines these memes as superheroes and supervillains is really pretty impressive. So it's just going to be an absolute blast. Everyone's going to have a good laugh, and it's highly entertaining. And then when you see the CGI animation, you'll be like, whoa, there's somebody put some money behind this. All right, so my buddy James Espinoza is here. Hello, brother. It's James. Lots has been changed in my life. Almost done with college. Congratulations. We are so back. Hope all is well. No, not all is not well. All is not well, my man. But I'm not gonna dump that shit on you. I'm just gonna kind of persevere like a man. Just man up, shut up, and man up and shut up. That's part of why I'm trying to get back to doing some artwork here, is to just do something for me that's fun and enjoyable, and not, stressful, or part of this world that we are born into and all that shit. So, I'm happy to have you guys back. I'm happy to see you. A lot has changed. What's changed in your life, James? What's changed in your life? That would be an interesting convo. We can take the focus off me and put it on you. um, I there's things I'd like to say about college. I know someone very close to me who will be starting college soon, and that's kind of an exciting thing going on. Scary in some regards, just in terms of, like, you know, for a young man to go to college, and that whole time of life is it's a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot of different things happening on campuses that one has to be, aware of, sort of watchful of, if you will. But anyway, it's part of life, and you just move on, I guess, right? And there you are. And there you go. And now you know. Um, Hippocratic. Okay, James says, I got a girlfriend and I'm getting ready for graduate school. Met a lot of based guys. That's extremely cool. I really, I mean, everybody is in their own little fishbowl world, but it feels very much like our movement is growing in leaps and bounds. And not only is it growing, it's coming out publicly. There's a lot. You just see so many people now. I think a lot of what we are about is gradually becoming normalized, mainstream, if you will, and that's freaking fantastic. As for myself, and congratulations on the girlfriend. That's a big deal too. I just gave a friend of mine some, like, girl advice tonight, actually earlier tonight. You will persevere in West Men. You know, you have to think that when things get so bad that you they're you're in they're surreal, like things have reached like a surreal level, then you hit, I don't know how to it's kind of like you hit a certain phase where you disassociate, where you kind of like, you know you you're in a survival mode, I guess, and you just think like, okay, something is happening here on like a spiritual level that I don't fully understand, and so I'm gonna chill out. I'm not gonna like make it worse than it is. There's an interesting statement that I heard recently, that life is not, the suffering of life, what have you, is not so much about the problems, but your reactions to the problems. And that really touched me. I thought that's fascinating. And then there's this other aspect in my studies, my esoteric studies, I'm always doing that, where I feel that I'm at a place right now where I'm kind of realizing that in some regard you could say that everything is mind, and so it sort of sucks that you have to kind of keep coming back to it and relearning it over and over and over and over. That's sort of a hell, I guess, but it's like it's just I'm being vague because I just don't want to talk about it. To be dead honest with you, this like the shit that I'm going through right now is so off the charts that it's like it's mind bending. So it's just I'm really here to just kind of relax and hang with you guys. So I'm going to kind of walk away from that. But yeah, perseverance. Yeah. I mean, we all die in the end anyway, right? So might as well just persevere because it's going to be over one day. That's the good news. Um, anyway, so I don't know if you guys want me to yammer about stuff or just hang and watch me draw. If you anything you want to talk about, definitely the optics are definitely changing. More and more are waking up, especially millennial women. My girlfriend is super based, dude. Does she have a sister? Because I need a woman like that, man. I need a woman like that. Um, my buddy who I was talking about earlier, uh, the girl he's with wants to get married. She's kind of pushing 30, and the biological clock is ringing, and she's playing a lot of shit test games with his mind and this and that, and I just kind of it's tough sometimes when you're too close to something. You really need another dude to kind of get in there and say, listen, this is what's happening. Watch out for this. Think about that. Uh, you know, while respectfully keeping some space and saying, these are your decisions. This is your relationship. I don't know the girl as well as you do per se. Blah 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 blah. But this is the nature of women, and women behave in a certain way. They will leverage things in a certain way, and you have to be aware of these things. You are the leader, you're not the follower. She'll try to shit test you into some kind of situation, and she'll use sex and crying and all kinds of manipulations to make you do what she wants. But that's just not how it goes. You're the leader, you choose, you're the center. She orbits you, not the other way around. James says she has a sister, but she's married. Oh, drat. Anyway, I guess I'll just have to carry on. Um, so, what else? What else? But yeah, so I one of the last things that I said in months ago when I did like my last show was that YouTube has got me on 2 strikes, and that if I get one more strike, they will delete my channel. And I protested, saying, like that's my property, and like you have no right to delete my videos. You can turn off my channel if you want to be an asshole and against free speech. But to delete my fucking videos of 9 fucking years, I think I would like to sue your ass into the ground if you do that. And I know you have all the money in the world and everything, but you don't know the tricks I have up my sleeve. So I will just stop there. And I just want to avoid the whole thing. I'm not trying to get into a lawsuit, or any kind of shit. But it's just such a sign of the times, that like, they're struggling so hard to censor free speech. I'm not doing anything. I'm not calling on, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not calling to hurt anybody. I'm not doing anything of any nature like that. I'm talking the truth. I've been speaking the truth. I've been dealing with things. And I mean, there's guys out there that are way, way, way more based than I am in terms of like the stuff that they say. And so that all of that I just said is like leading up to look at how far the Overton window has moved. Like, look, you've got people like Stu Peters, Candace Owens, you know, the comedians today are saying like incredible jokes, like essentially anti small hat jokes. And like it's shocking. And I feel like it's pretty freaking amazing that like I guess I would say that like when comedians are openly joking about those things, then it's a cultural barometer, or I should say political barometer of what can and cannot be said. I'm not trying to brag, but I knew this was coming because I understand the nature of comedy and such that they just have to get edgier and edgier, and they have to get more and more and more and more offensive. They have to push the envelope as far as they can go, and what's at the end of the rainbow? You guys know what it is. So finally, they came to our talking points, and now they're saying just the things that's out there is just so funny. It's crazy. I post like a ton of that stuff. I share a ton of that stuff pretty much every day. When I'm online on my other platforms. I don't know. Somebody told me that I'm shadow banned on one of the platforms. I'd have to kind of test that and see or whatever. But anyway, it's. I'll kind of put it this way: to a certain extent, I feel like we were the first. I don't know what it's called. It's like the front line or what? Not the front line, but like in a war, you have like one troop goes out and fights the battle, and then there's another troop, and then another and another, and waves of troops that go into battle. And my wave, so to speak, was between I don't know, say when Trump started to I don't know, maybe I don't know, a year or two ago or something. When my mom passed away, that like severely, severely fucked me up, and that's a long story. I didn't stop making content, but uh, anyway, I don't need to explain that. So, but my point I'm making is that I laid the groundwork, and when I say I guess I mean we. Those of us out there that were shitlording and doing the dirty work or what have you, we set the table, and now everyone else is coming to eat. You get my point? So I feel like I can let go of the wheel a bit, and I've mentioned this idea before in other streams. We're in a really, really new and different paradigm. I didn't vote this time, so by telling you that I did not vote in the last presidential election should give you some indication of where I'm at, if you're smart enough. What else can I say? I'm putting a lot more time into, well, I'm in a pretty serious transition at the moment, but prior to working through this transition, I've been putting a lot more time into not politics. Like what do I need to do for the future? How can I improve my life? How can I be a better father? You know, finances. You know, blah blah blah. Just life stuff. It's not that I've stopped caring or I've walked away from the movement or something. That's not true. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm kind of reevaluating what is it that I want to do, and how does it help me? How does it benefit me? I have to think at my age and at my station. What's good for me at this point. It's not it's not so much like a selfish thing as like, every man's got to do this. We all, every human's got to do this to some extent, Hails to anti-whiteism ends with you. Excellent name. I love it. Great to see you. Welcome to the chat. Um, for white for white well-being says, that's right. Men are the leader, women are the follow, like in a dance. Yes. So that I could probably get into that topic. That's actually kind of an interesting thing. I'm obviously not going to say the names or anything, and privacy, that yada yada. But so my buddy, he's a young, creative guy, super cool. Uh, he's got a promising future in the arts, and you know, he's going places. Things are just going really nicely. So whatever he's got a girlfriend now, and but she's got some issues, little family abuse stuff, and she kind of comes out of that hippie chick culture, which so many of them do, and it's some of the shit that she thinks and says and does is retarded. It's like, my friends all say this, so I believe it too. And this is what I mean is like, okay, if that's how she's going to behave, then she's going to try to bring that into the relationship. Like, okay, I'm setting the rules for this relationship. And it's not, that's not going down. It's not happening that way. Um, and again, like using sex and guilt and tears and fighting and more sex is leverage. It's all manipulation. It's all manipulation. And so I'm trying to get him outside of his own head for a bit to, I don't want to say like look at this like a business, but you know, she's like, she's known him for a year and she wants to marry him. And really, why is because she wants babies, and that's fine and good and natural to want babies. But you can kind of see the picture here. She's desperate. She's the guy she's got, and so she wants to make him settle down. And so he's like, yeah, I don't have the finances, and you know, I'm not even really sure that you're the one. You can see the trepidation there. So, um, okay, you guys are chatting with each other. Do you have another account? So, I just, it's funny because when I spoke to him, I was like super amazing, and now that I'm trying to repeat it, I sound like an idiot. I don't have like, I just can't replicate the moment of all that passion and everything. But long story short, I think it was just kind of like walk through a sort of like psychological test, like like for one, really should live with her for a year to kind of give it a shot, give it like a test run, so to speak. Um, Even that's kind of a big commitment. It's just other things of this nature. You get my point. So, but the thing that I think really got me about it all was just like how manipulative she is. But here's the trick of it is that she doesn't know that she's manipulative. It's like it's just her nature to do that. And that's, I know that might sound a little dark to some people, but it's just so when you've been around the block 100 times and you've been abused and destroyed by the divorce industry and blah 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 blah, you do your research, you come to understand how these things work. um, so I was able to give him some really good questioning strategies and say like, if she's doing this, then it means that, and if you're doing this, then this is the result. Like I'm saying things like, can you imagine raising a child with this woman? That's a serious question. Like this, it's kind of creepy in a way, to me anyway, that some women have this mentality of like, babies are like these objects that they have. They're kind of like, I have a baby. And it's almost like a status thing among women. And I don't know, man. I don't. It's not, a baby's a human being, and not just that. It's your human being. It's your child. It's And are you gonna start? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go too far down that road, but there's some differences in their values. He's more like us. Uh, he's much more based, and she kind of comes out of that hippie chick culture. So there's conflicts, as you can imagine. But and at the same time, there's that notion of like, well, she's young, she's gonna grow. Give her a chance, kind of thing. I don't know. It's a risk. It's like if you're gonna invest yourself in, like moving in with somebody, that's a big risk. Um, so it kind of boils down to like, is it worth the risk? Like, you have to ask yourself, do I really want this, or am I doing it because I don't want to be lonely? Which is the downfall of many, many men, myself included. You um, it's a I don't know. It's a hard thing. It's a weird, not weird, but it's a thing. People go through it. Um, anyway, suffice to say, it's a good convo and helpful. No relationship's perfect. I mean, that's just like this whole idea of like, she's my soulmate. Like, twin souls, man. I don't buy into that. I mean, there's some people that are extremely fortunate, and they make really good choices. Like, whatever, they have like a true friendship with their spouse, and that's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Oh. Anyway, what do we got here? James says, "What are your thoughts on 2009 film Watchmen?" Whoa, let's talk The Watchmen. I thought the character of Rorschach was to be cool. Yes. How does it go? How does it go? I'm not in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. That's like the best line in the movie. Yeah, I love Rorschach. I think he is like, he's what Batman should be. Um, I have a superhero character I designed that is a combination of Dr. Manhattan and Rorschach. Meaning, like, he has godlike powers, but he's like slightly insane. I mean, like, try to imagine if the Joker were a superhero, and he went and killed bad guys. This is pretty, it's an anti-hero, of course, but I mean, but to have like above Superman level powers, though, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. I brought that idea up to some like comic book friends, and it flipped them out. They're actually really disturbed by the idea. And I'm like, well, I hit a nerve. But yeah, like he has that. What he says, there's that one thing where he finds the guy, and he's got like, he kills little girls and all that shitty, gross stuff, and he sort of handcuffs him or something or other, and the murderer is like saying, okay, you got me, send me to prison, whatever, and Rorschach's got like a meat cleaver, and he's like, no, men go to prison, dogs get put down, and then kills the guy. And granted, it's theater, it's film, it's fiction, But this is where I'm going to stop talking because I don't want to get my YouTube channel zapped. I think I'll leave the rest to you. Fill in the blanks with Donald Kent. Hey, what did he mean to say? Well, our first contestant, I think he said this. I think he said that. I've had this wonderful idea. It's actually a terrible idea, but I've been entertaining it to like do a show about my docs. You know, I got doxxed a couple years ago. But not just that, to invite the woman that doxed me on the show and go over the site and scroll down the page and read what they say and explain like, oh, this is why this is not true, or this is true and this is why it's a good thing, and not a bad thing. And then to say like, how does it make you feel to know that you put me and my family in danger? Like, does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? I could be like Pierce Morgan and just be like, so what are your thoughts on this? Um, I'm well way super far past any of that stuff. I'm not even. It's really kind of a non. I don't know. I don't want to even call it. It's like just weird and dumb kind of. But it's like there's sometimes you hit a point where you're like, this shit is so surreal that I have to like be the Joker about it. You know what I mean? Like it's just so bizarre that we live in a world where advocating for yourself and your people is evil. Like, look at what fucking planet am I on? What the fuck is this? And like people who are just like these infantilized perverts and psychos get free reign, like total free reign. They can do anything. They can say anything. They can hurt anybody. Dox anybody, ruin people's lives. And believe me, I know people whose lives have been ruined by these doxes. And they just get off scot-free. So that's why I like Rorschach, because he would not let that go. Unfortunately, unfortunately, maybe I'll stop right there. I'll say, hey, in Minecraft, these are the things that happen. Minecraft, what a fun game. Anyway, I'm going all up, but this is the usual Donald Kent drawing show. It's me all over the place. Robert E. Pyle is here. Hollandier is here. My old buddies, we're getting the band back together. Men go to prison, dogs get put down. Exactly, yeah. Hollandier says, I filled in the blanks with Donald Kent and got a pretty cool comic book. Well done. But to get back to your question, James, I think the film is way better than the comic book. What's his face, Alan Moore. I'm not an Alan Moore fan, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of like, I just don't think he's as great as everybody says he is. He's not terrible. He's not bad or whatever. I'm not impressed with him. He's not my kind of writer, I guess, is maybe you want to put it that way. V for Vendetta, I thought sucked. I didn't like that at all. But I did like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I thought that was cool. Alan Moore should do more stuff like that, I would say. Actually, yeah, anyway, but I do love The Watchmen. To me, The Watchmen is one of the all-time best stories out there in the comics world. But I have to say, like, Zack Snyder's film adaptation was better than the graphic novel. Okay, I said it there. I said it. Am I a bad person? Am I a bad person because I said that? I really, really loved. I forgot. It's been so long since I've seen the film. The Owl Man guy, the guy that plays. He's like supposed to be Batman, but he's like got an owl theme. I just like the idea of like kind of like an old, fat, washed up superhero. It was like, you know, just like an ordinary guy in a way. It's not. You know what I mean. The comedian character to me is really just more of a literary device. I don't think the character himself is inspiring in any way, but what he has to say is important. In terms of like, what happened to America, and like just a weird sense of corruption, and like, I don't know. If you saw the movie, you'd kind of know like he's a very nihilistic character in his own way. Pyle says some of the stories were pretty good. Many of them I don't care too much either. So there you go, and now you know. So what do you think, guys? Should I do a doxing show, and like, you know, should I do that? Is that what do you think would be the outcome of that? Would it be good family entertainment? Um, does not know. Trying to think what else about the film that I want to mention or talk about. Um, I own it. I own the DVD. I mean, I like it enough to own it. Um, so there you go. I think "own it" is like a great catchphrase to just sort of live by too. So, do I have any big plans? I do, but it's too early to release them or talk about them because I don't. I'm kind of at a point where it's like, well, don't talk about your plans, just do them. you know, like just do them and then announce them when you're ready to launch them, kind of thing. Um, it does get it's exciting, I think, though, to have projects that you're working on, or etc. I'm the king of like great ideas that never get realized. I've had a billion. Oh my God, I've had so many times in my life where I've done presentations for corporations and organizations and blah de blah and all this stuff, and for one fucking reason or another, it never pans out. And so that wears you down. That wears you down. Uh, there's something wrong with that. I can't explain it. I don't want to get into the like manifestation, man, or whatever. But um, yeah, sometimes think like, okay, like I'm glad that didn't happen because it probably maybe I would have gotten in a lot of trouble or something if that thing had gone. Because like the guy that I was gonna work with ended up getting in trouble with the deep state or something, and so like, okay, I kind of dodged a bullet there or something. But what do you know? I really feel like I'm never gonna stop trying until I die. Basically, like I don't know what will happen, if anything will happen. Maybe someday someone will get a folder of my ideas after I'm dead and say like, "Holy shit, these are phenomenal ideas. Let's do them right now." Okay, go, bang, and then all of them will get realized. That would be cool. Like I wouldn't care, that I wasn't alive. I'd be like, it got done. That fucking thing got done. That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. I guess I can zoom in on this guy here. Some of the stories you really want to talk to that woman. Are we talking about my buddy's girlfriend who I'm advising him on? I don't know which woman. Oh, that woman. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Um, you know, even she is starting to, how do I say, like she can, these grifters, they just follow whatever's happening. Like the way they make money is by reacting, responding to whatever's in the news, and that's the grift, right? So the Overton window has moved so much so that she's now talking about like, oh, I'm hanging out with fascists now, and it's so cool. Look at me, I'm so cool. Look, I'm the key speaker at this event, and it's filled with other nationalists, and people call us fascists, and ha ha, we're cool. And I'm like, that's the same fucking thing you doxed me for, you dumb bitch. Like, and now you want to be part of the club. So I don't spend nights not sleeping about this. Like, I don't care, but it's really just, it just shows you, like, you really have to divorce yourself from the grift algorithm. You know what I mean? It's just garbage. There's things you gotta stay tuned in to. And I obviously continue to stay tuned in, and have my little hot takes and figure shit out, and talk to my friends about, did you see this, or what do you think of that? And it's ongoing, the understanding, piecing together what's happening on the world stage and all that. And I don't know, it's like, it's too complex for me to just like spit it out in like a quick blurb, so it's easy for you to digest or something. It's too complex. But I'm just not in the grifter zone, and I never was. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. It's just it's a thing you got to be careful of. I think someone I've been paying more attention to lately is Nick Fuentes. It's funny because every time I bring up his name, the people that I know in our culture, they kind of flare up. Like, "Rah," and then I think this, and I think, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I know that. Just because I'm talking about him doesn't mean I'm like a groiper per se. I've always been just like anybody who's saying anything relevant and important and helping us with our cause is somebody that we should pay attention to. Um, Watch out that they're not like controlled opposition, of which we know a lot about that now. There's so many grifters, so many fake accounts that are, even Stu Peters admitted that he's funded by Jews. I meant juice, like orange juice and apple juice. He's funded by apple juice. Anyway, so then you're like, okay, why? He's, you know, that dude's hot headed. Like, he was a bounty hunter in the military. It's like, and now he's like, raging on apple juice, and talking these things, getting people super angry. And it's like, okay, what are you doing? What's going on here? So it brings up a thought, like in China under Mao. I think, okay, Mao had this policy. I think it was called "Let a Thousand Flowers Bloom," and it's this typical kind of Chinese thing. And he was basically inviting the public to criticize the Communist Party to improve the party, and blah blah blah, and the way forward, da 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 da. Da. So he does that, and citizens around the country come forward, and they have all these fantastic ideas, and he rounds them up and arrests them and kills them. And so that was China's big lesson of many, many lessons about the evils of communism. And I feel like these grifters that are talking about apple juice and orange juice and those kinds of juices, that they are in a way doing that to us, that they're trying to call us out, and out from the holes that we live in our little dark caverns of Yeah. Anyway, and then like okay, this guy said this on Twitter at this time, and screen capture that and put it in the Mossad database and all blah 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 blah. But yeah, man, interesting times. I don't know. It's some wild shit going on. That's all I gotta tell you, bruh. That's all I gotta tell you, bruh. All right, what else is going on here? Zoomer. Zoomer Historian is a YouTube channel I'd recommend. I think I might have heard of that. I'm gonna have to look that up. I appreciate that. Have you guys heard of Cliff High? I know that's a weird name. I'm sure it's not his real name. Cliff High, High. He's not. I think a lot of people might think he's kind of wackadoo. He's sort of like the Brendan O'Connell of wackadoo, I guess. And I mean that jokingly. Cliff High years ago created some kind of internet bot that I think he was like one of the early guys to do that. He's like a much older dude. And long story short, this sort of internet bot was able to scour the internet for information and then predict the future. Meaning, like the stock market was his original target apparently, but then all kinds of other predictions were flooding out of this analytic bot, and pointing out, okay, all these different connections on the internet indicate that this is going to happen at this time and place. And apparently he's had luck with that. And so he's in a whole other world of just the shit that he talks about that's like really, it's not, I use the word wackadoo because, like, to the common person, if you just tune into his channel, you're going to be like, what is going on here, guys? I like that he uses the Khazarian Mafia as his go-to phrase for the apple juice. And he just put out, I don't know how recent it is, but he just put out a video talking about Ashkenazi and how they pretty much stole. I don't. I'm really afraid to go into this because it's I could lose my YouTube channel. I guess I'm just gonna say go to Cliff High's YouTube and see what you can find about it. But some of that stuff we know because we do our research, and we have like the best resources on a lot of that stuff. We got you know a lot of big brains out there that do heavy research on this topic. So you know, but where am I going with this? Cliff High, Khazarian Mafia. He makes some interesting points in that video that I think for us is good to know, good to see. There's many times when we're trying to talk to normies or Christians specifically about the JQ, and they seem to have all kinds of excuses and beliefs, and they're sort of all they're still in the matrix. So just kind of put it that way, and it's really hard to snap them out of it. So if you can get into talking about the Khazarian Mafia, then you can get into some really interesting conversation, and you can help enlighten Christians about who is killing the world and committing genocide openly and all that other stuff. Okay, what do we got here? Who else? Splattercat is back. Yes. Zimmer historian. I would be careful around her and other people like her. Yes. Hippocratic Oath says yes. The database guy. So naturally, I've heard of Cliff High. Splattercat says I haven't seen you in a long time. Glad to see you again. You guys are really nice. I appreciate that because, like, what I used to do as American Zarathustra on this channel was way better than what I'm doing now. Like, I had, you know, at one point I was doing like at least 3 shows a week. I had really, really cool guests on, and we had fascinating topics and rigorous topics. Some kind of media that I would show, interesting visuals and stuff that's engaging. And then, whatever certain events happened, my mom passed away, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The election was fill in the blank, this, that, and the other thing. And then it's kind of like, you know, had to take some time off. And then when I came back, I've just been doing stuff like this. And so I don't think like this is fun and cool and neat in its own way, but it doesn't compare to my accomplishments, I think. So like I don't know, I'm just very proud of the Imperium Art playlist. I had that show, the Afternoon at the Gallery, which was really neat. Would have influencers in our sphere on, and we would tour galleries from around the world and talk about certain themes and various stuff. It was really kind of a charming show. And then just the oddball interview by people who are, adjacent to the movement in some way. And then, just go off the trails and talk about like, you know, uh, hypnotic past life retro something or other, like my wackadoo fun stuff that I love. Um, but you guys are still around, and I appreciate you, so thank you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Well, I don't. There's a part of me that really, really, really just wants to disappear. Um, I just don't. I can't really do that right now. Um, there's so much that I could be doing, like in and for the movement, but my resources, time, and energy are shit. And that's the devil right there. To me, that is literally the devil. It's like you're capable of saving the world, but and then here's all these. We're gonna weigh you down. It's like, I don't know. It's a type of punishment, basically. It's pretty evil. Anyway, where am I going? Fucking around again. Hippocratic Oath says his theory is that humans have natural precognition, and they create search terms that reflect their intuition, and he has bots that pick up on the aggregate, that pick up and aggregate that data. Um, well, there's a lot to say right there. I mean, that's gigantic. What everything you just said, and that, yeah, I'm glad you expanded on that a lot better than I did. I'm really tired and burned out, and if you had any idea what I've been going through, you'd be surprised that I'm even breathing right now. But so thank you for doing the heavy lifting there, Robert Pyle. I feel the same way sometimes. Yeah, something in the way. So I don't have, excuse me, I don't have my music set up at the moment. I usually like to have some tunes on. Instead, you just gotta listen to me yammer. That sucks. Hmm. So what do we got here? Yeah, the other job, the alliance job, that, I mean, they always say like we're gonna start in 2 weeks, and then it ends up being 4 weeks or some shit. So I don't, I just kind of like, hopefully it'll start soon. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get too attached to that because I don't know for sure when it will actually happen. But Happy to get back to that though. We really have to finish that project. Um, it's been a couple of years in the making, actually. So it'll be exciting when we can get that out. Fun times. And yes, I'm still out dancing on the weekends. I found a new place that has like a new, what do I want to call it, like a production crew that does like crazy shows. Um, the only thing about it, the new location, it's got like a lot of really young college kids. And I know I've already kind of talked about those things before, but like this particular demographic, they're not like I mean they're basically like suburban white kids that go to college in the city. And so, it's kind of that thinking that like I got to get out of the suburbs, otherwise I'm a loser. I'm backwards or something. I All my friends are moving to the city. I have to go there too. Otherwise I'm not relevant. Or it's just sort of the phase of being like in your early 20s or something. None of that means anything to me. I'm just there to dance. I'm just there to have fun. But everyone, like, there was a time when this girl just started like laughing at me, and I think it's because of the fashion that I wore. Like, I had this really cool retro '70s style look. There's people come up to me and they just want to have photographs with me. It's kind of funny, and then because they think I'm somebody because I'm like older, and I'm dressed up like this crazy club guy, and they're just sort of ordinary suburban kids, so they think it's like a fashion show. I really don't know. Regardless, I still have my fun. The only problem though is that these places, or this place, gets so crowded. It's like a major fire hazard. I mean, I've even talked to them about, like, guys, you gotta do something about this, man. You can't let that many people into the club. It's crazy. The music is fucking hot though. It's so good. It's just hard not to go because, and like a lot of the people that I go dancing with on the scene, they're generally more hip kind of people, and a lot of them are a bit liberal. Not all of them. We got a couple of our guys hiding in the scene, and we do our little secret Sieg Heils and stuff. But what am I trying to say? So like they're like, I don't. They call these kids normies. They're like, there's too many normies there. I don't want to be around them. They're. And to me, I'm like, if you're so liberal and open-minded, then why can't you tolerate being around these people? I, you know, how come you're open-minded to everybody except normal people? Like, you're a fucking retard. Just shut up. Get the fuck out of here. I'm so, I'm so liberal. I'm so open-minded. Okay. But that's an old story, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's an old story. That's another kind of thing about why I'm not really doing a lot online, is that I don't I don't want to become that like reactionary guy. Like, there's already so much out there that we already know. Like, I'm more interested in learning new things, and that's why, like, talking about Cliff High, for example, is a really great channel. Gnostic Informant is one of my new favorites. I've been following Jason Reza Giorgiani very closely. He's kind of going off the rails in some ways, and that would be a very, very, very interesting topic to go into on this show. I'll start off by saying that I love the man, and I think he's probably the most intelligent man on earth right now. Unfortunately, he's making certain decisions that I can't really go into on this show, I guess, without it turning into something else, I guess. I'm just, I feel like YouTube is just, they're just dying to have a reason to like delete my videos. That's why I'm being like extra cautious about what I'm saying, and I'm not even being that cautious. But if you follow me on my other channels, you can get the unadulterated, unedited Donald Kent that you've always been waiting for. Even my FBI guy is on there and pretending to be somebody else. He just doesn't think I know that. And there's a lot of lurkers, though. And it's like, if you're on the channel, just engage, like say something. What else is there? Splattercat. Okay. Wow, there's 10 people here. Holy crap. Shit, I better do some song and dance, man. I got a big audience now. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? How you doing? Hey, just flew in from Chicago. Boy, are my arms tired. Is the Alliance job the one where giant bugs attack the gods and also a bunch of Groiper frogs' friends get killed? Yes. You win the prize. You win the prize. And that's just one crazy side of it. So, like, it's just, I'd have to, I don't actually know where that art is at the moment, but like, I'd have to pull out all those pages and kind of walk through it and the characters, and I'm really dying to share it and show it to everybody. But again, it's one of these like, just hang on, hey, it's the writer's property basically, so I can't really, I can sneak peek stuff here and there, that's fine. I do these live streams, but there's a lot of neat stuff in there. You guys will be. I think once it's out, you'll have a huge laugh. So Jason Reza Giorgiani just put out another book. I think it's a new book on UFO disclosure, but much more like he has a really unique and broad-reaching worldview, a kind of like a plan for human evolution. I mean, this is you know he's a big dog. He's a big dog. Actually, I communicated with him directly some years ago when I was American Zarathustra, and the reason being is he's part Persian, and so Zarathustra was Persian, and so when he saw my name and my art, he's sort of he is an aspiring artist. I don't know if that's the word I want to use. Like he does some pretty cool digital art. I think he's a better writer than he's an artist. He does some fictional writing. He's I want to call him an artist, but he's more of like a philosopher, scholar, artist, if that makes sense. Um, anyway, so he was kind of talking to me about Zoroastrianism, Zarathustra, etc. And at the time, I was like, well, for starters, the name American Zarathustra is a reference to Friedrich Nietzsche, not to Zoroastrianism, because of Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And like, you know, Nietzsche is really, really important in our movement. Like he's one of probably the greatest philosopher of modern times. And, his ideas inform us, in our movement. And I think that's just well known among our guys, I would assume so. So regardless, though, I was still interested in learning. And I actually even bought a book on Zoroastrian magic. I haven't read it yet or whatever, but I don't know, one day I'll probably look into that. And so, yeah, there you go. I interact, like I'll comment on his videos and stuff, but he doesn't reply. So I don't know if that'll ever, if there could be any correspondence there. Um, so, but So I'll give you kind of like a nutshell, quick, quick serve kind of look at what things that I've noticed about Jason's interviews. So for starters, like he's in a okay, quite a while ago he worked with Richard Spencer to try to create what they were calling the alt right corporation. This is obvious. This is going back to like 2017 or something like that, you know. And for whatever reason, I don't know, that didn't work out. Whatever. He got fired from some university in New York City for being associated with the alt right, Richard Spencer, da da da, and it fucked up his life pretty bad. It was a terrible thing that happened. Set him on a different trajectory, I guess I would say. Um, when he was young, he was on Jeffrey Mishlov's YouTube show. What's it called? Thoughts Aloud or something? Something Aloud. Open Thoughts Aloud. I can't remember the damn name. It's a wonderful show. Jeffrey Mishlove is a lovely guy. And it's just all about everything spiritual, all things related to spirituality, but not in a goofy, unscientific, hippie way, in more in a real way. Like there's guys from the CIA that run the remote viewing program on like shit like that. Anyway, Jason was on the show several times. And that's great stuff to look up if you're interested in you know that content. But anyway, he was talking about he's got some pretty heavy deep state associations. I mean, the dude says it on in these interviews, so there's really shouldn't be anything wrong with me saying what he said. And one of the things that he mentioned at one point was that he was offered to have control of the oil resources of the entire country of Venezuela. Now, you don't get offered that if you don't know people in extremely high places. And he was smart enough, the dude's the smartest man on earth, to say no. Because, what better way to put a freaking target on your head than do that? Um, but, I mean, to be offered such a thing, what does that say? Like, who wants Jason in their pocket? Who wants to control him and why? What is it about him that they're making him these kind of offers on that scale so that they can have him in their pocket? Think about that. What is this is heavy shit, dude. Like, what is he about that is so important that they have to control him? And if you listen to his interviews, they're very, very rigorous interviews. He's extremely passionate and even very angry. You'll have to go, Google him or whatever, not Google, like YouTube him and stuff. And if you watch enough of the interviews, you'll piece together the big picture, of what he's about. Hippocratic Oath says Thanos' voice, Jason Giorgiani is evil and must be destroyed in Minecraft. I'm like I said, I'm not against Jason. I'm not trying to come across like that at all. I think there's something going on behind the curtain that I think based on the stuff that he says, I can make a fairly safe hypothesis about what I think he's doing. Um, and the censors have just come in and told me that I'm going to have to stop at this point on that topic. So I will back off away from that. What else can I say of interest? Well, the UFO stuff's fun. That's good. I mean, good in the sense of like it's amazing content. He has a book, Closer Encounters, and this he covers a lot of that in a lot of his interviews. One thing that he's said that I find really extraordinary is that AI is now showing signs of being psychic. Um, the dude is extremely deep in a lot of areas. He's deeply, deeply, deeply concerned about the trajectory of human evolution. And I am too, and I think that's a beautiful and profound and important thing to care about, you know. It's good. Um, and I do agree with his kind of Promethean philosophy that technology is, I don't know how to phrase this, like, technology is a part of human evolution, that we create the technology that evolves us. And so how we interact with technology, how we create technology, relates to how we choose to evolve as a species. Now, I do have some kind of sideways commentary on that, because who's evolving? Who created the civilizations and the technologies that the whole world uses? It's mostly white people. Now, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Asian cultures. They've got lots and lots of technologies and medicines and philosophies and blah, 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 blah. And I know that the Persians have as well. I give them credit where credit is due. But Western civilization really is the modern world. And we are the ones at the head of that and that care about that. You're not going to go anyway. I don't need to like lecture on that. You guys generally know. So like every time someone says the human race, I mean, like, what race? Which race? What are you talking about? You know. So and I feel I hate being swept under the rug like that. And me personally, I can't take credit for that. No, but yeah, I'm small potatoes. But my people can, as a race, as a group, you know. And we need to own it. We need to, you know, say this is our heritage. This is our, you know, I don't know what to call it. Like, it's who we are, like biologically. You know what I'm saying? And stop being fucking nice about it. Like, just, own it, and don't be shy about that. Stop lying for other people's comfort. Fuck that. They don't care about our comfort. Why the fuck should we, oh, the human race. Shut the fuck up. Grow up. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Where are we going here? Thanos. No, no, like, I love Jason. I just don't like a certain choice that he's making right now. I don't know. I know he knows why he's choosing to do that one thing, but um, I'm really like, I don't think this is gonna work out. But the guy is like 100 steps ahead of most of us, so who knows? Who knows? Um, it's like, let's say if you see a politician invest in a certain stock, then that's an indication that something's going to happen to that company. You see my point? It's going up, down, whatever the thing is. So like Jason making a certain affiliation with a certain type of juicy beverage is it signifies something that is scary to me. Um, I could go so deep on that topic of it. I'm just really cutting my tongue off here and not really allowing myself to go with it. I've kind of gotten back into a little bit of Brendan O'Connell. I really love the guy. I think that he's just really fun. I respect him a lot. I don't agree with him all the time. Um, and I know that he's like super overbearing. But I mean, that's kind of part of what's fun about him, though, is how like crazy and passionate he is. Like, I feel like I could be a great friend with him, even though I think he'd probably hate me in some ways. Well, like my views on race, for example, I would really, really hate that. But I don't care. I don't really care. It's neither here nor there. Who else? Who else is putting out some good stuff out there? Cliff High, Jason Giorgiani. I got a buddy who is really, really into health stuff, and he's starting to kind of turn me on to certain shows and channels and on Rumble and such. Rumble is like loaded with a lot of that kind of content. So I don't know. I haven't had time yet to get into it, but I might end up, bringing health-related topics into the show, just as a conversation piece. And is anybody out there? Anybody out there? Giorgiani is more of a Rumble conversation. Yeah, you're right. You're right. White Tuber came up with a conspiracy theory that we. Oh, did I already read this? Our movement is. Oh, no. That our movement is being controlled by Giorgiani and started all kinds of drama in our scene with his weird theory. You know, that's a little, that's a little much, I would say. There's really a lot to Giorgiani, though. There really, really is quite a lot to him, and it's not to be underestimated. I mean, if you can just keep up with the guy for like an hour, you're gonna be, mentally exhausted. He's really like astonishing. But like a lot of it is just the dude's got really deep contacts in the government, in other governments, and he knows a lot of shit that's going on. But then more than that, he's quite good at analyzing data and having a kind of creative and intellectual. Uh, how do I put this? Like he's able to take all these different things and put them together in a new idea that nobody could have possibly thought of except him, because he's a genius. I could see how like a certain government or any government that was intelligent would want this guy, you know, working for them, because he's like an Oppenheimer in his own way. Like I probably wouldn't like that analogy. He's not trying to create the nuclear bomb, but like I don't know. I mean, I think that highly of him, in terms of like what he could do. I suppose if he had control of certain things. He's not against. He's against transhumanism, but he's not against technology used in such a way to help/save humanity. So, you know, he of course describes this in much better than how I am at the moment. But like if you were able to like grow organs in a lab and somebody needs a new kidney, and then oh hey bang boom, there you go. That's a lame example, but there's so many diseases and various things that could probably be cured. Now we're literally in the opposite of that. We're living literally in a global prison camp of that's a death camp. We're literally living in a global death camp. And if you know anything about certain things that are Rumble discussion things, then you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm preaching to the confirmed here, but yada yada yada. So let's move on. We're gonna switch over. I'm not in the mood to do that page anymore. Go away page. Let's back out of this. One of the interesting things that I learned from Giorgiani is that the moon is hollow, and that it is not really a moon as much as it is a space station. And as we get closer to disclosure time, all of that stuff's going to come out. I look at so much different information on these topics, and again, it's the same approach. I just try to be like a lawyer and say, okay, I'm a detective, I'm gathering data. And, what is the background of this person? Can they be trusted? Who are they paid for? Or who pays them? Who are they affiliated with? What's their ideology? What's their religion? All those things play a role in the information that you gather, right? Um, and then what I've noticed is that there's all like, let's say, okay, there's like the underground and then there is the mainstream. So you do have a kind of a mainstream UFO thing happening where there's like shows, various YouTube shows or this or that show, whatever, this and that. And who knows, probably Instagram, and there's all grifters and this and that. And they'll have some kind of pretty girl on or some old dude who looks real intelligent, and they'll say, oh, I did this and I did that and XYZ. And to a normie audience, it'd be like, oh my God, that's so shocking. But like these ideas have been spoken of for quite a while already in the underground. When I say underground, I don't really mean that there's a UFO underground community. It's just people like me who are looking for very, very rare information. And I wonder, okay, is that, since that's like more glossy mainstream stuff, is it counterintelligence? You get my point? You know, um, Hippocratic oath, it's always a brown or a nose, yes, right? Pretty much, yeah. So, and I mean, I've been studying this stuff for like 19 years, so when I started out, you could find information, but it was more, how do I put it? Like, you could see videos of things that you can't see on the internet anymore. Like, I can't find them anyway. Like, if I told you the videos that I've seen, it's a flippy. It's extremely flippy. Today we know that we have like the common person has access to technology that can fake that stuff. But 19 years ago, these things didn't exist. The average, internet abuser couldn't download some tricky app and go bip 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 and then make a fake video about aliens or something. So there you are. And ultimately, in the end, until it's like you sort of see it with your own eyes, and you're not gonna actually believe it, but at the same time, there's like well, I have enough reason to believe this. There's enough evidence to to believe a thing. Just like in a court of law. Beyond a reasonable doubt. Anyway, so Giorgiani is like, he's deep, very deep on these things, and is a pretty phenomenal resource if you want to know stuff about UFOs. So that's a go-to right there for sure. I'm kind of at a place where how or why it interests me is more on a spiritual level than on like a political level. There's definitely a very powerful political dimension to UFOs, but it opens up once you kind of learn about their sciences and what they're doing and what human beings are in relationship to all this stuff. Things change quite a lot. You It opens up doors to technically like different dimensions. You start to think like, well, what is life? And I don't want to go down that road. It gets a little cheesy, but you get what I'm saying, I think. Okay. She's people started reporting people on Odyssey that talked about this, and a lot of people got demonetized, myself included. It's why I stopped streaming. Damn, dude. Talking about UFOs? Is that what you're saying? Sorry to hear it. What was your channel? Okay. Um, and there you go. You know what I mean? Like, it drives me nuts how, like, there's just no fucking freedom, man. You know, like, we have to run from one platform to the next, and then the next, and then the next, and like, when the fuck is this going to end? And the Apple Jews are trying to set it up where AI will control the entire internet. What's his name? Oh, there's the Altman guy, and there's Thiel. Peter Thiel? I forget his first name. So Thiel. These two guys are some of the richest apple juice in the world, billionaires, and they control everything in a sense that, like, AI and how it's going to change the world in a very short time. And being apple juice, they want absolute control. You get that, you know what they want, So it's conceivable that we, or anybody, even normies who want free speech, are going to have to go to the dark web, and or there's two webs. There's the dark web and then the other web. What's the one is just like a secret one, and then one is an illegal one. I forget which is which. I can't remember. Anyway, because I don't go to them. That's why. But anyway, but you hear what I'm trying to say. It's like communist Russia, where, like, if you wanted, I don't know, American beer or something, you'd have to risk your life to get it on the black market. That's kind of what it is, but for information. Let's see, Peter Thiel, yeah, gay dude, of course he is. Naturally, they all are. It seems I don't want to go down that road because I always feel sick to my stomach whenever I talk about GHEY, but there is a very, very, very strong connection between that and the apple juice. And I'm like, somebody needs to kind of do like a philosophical or psychological political expose on that. Yeah. So Robert, that's McBain. That's a fascinating puffer in Gaelic. Puffer, like the fish, like a puffer fish, Thiel. Maybe you can expand on that, but I'm interested in semantics and things of that. Not Semitic, semantics. But welcome, McBain. Good to have you here. Robert Pyle says, talking about White Tuber being a brown after he started the Giorgiani drama is what got people demonetized. Peter Puffer. That's funny. Okay, thank you. I needed a laugh, dude. Thank you. I really needed a laugh. That's funny. Anyway, Peter Piper. Where am I and who am I and what's it all about? Let's see. What are we doing here? So I have this character here he has kind of like a power of invisibility, and he's on this elevator and he punches out this scientist. He's going to inject him with a certain serum to make him, follow the cult and do the things that they want him to do as a scientist and blah, 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 to go along with the apple Jews and all that, yada, yada. Anyway, in this shot, he's invisible. Drawing someone who's invisible is a weird thing to do. It's kind of a tricky thing to do to convey that, so I have to kind of think that through. But I got a lot to do here. Hippocratic Oath. What pipe? Oh, please, guys, stop. Okay. Anyway, moving on. What else have we got here? What else can we say about Giorgiani? Oh, well, no, I can't talk about that. All the good stuff I can't talk about. Isn't that wonderful? Free speech, yay. Hip hip hooray. 3 cheers for free speech. Hip hip hooray. Anyway, welcome to the Terror Dome. Let's see. I guess I'll just get right into the fun stuff here. Screw it. Life is short, especially mine. Anyway, so God's testing me right now in a pretty serious way, very, very serious way. And what is it, Job? Is that the one that was like swallowed by a whale? Is that the one? I'm going through that right now. I'm going through the Job, my job. Okay, how do I want to do this? I'm getting tired too. Good stuff. Jonah in the whale. What did I say? Job? Jonah. Right. Okay. Yeah. I guess I can at least say that like I've plateaued. Like when you have every single week there's some kind of huge tragedy that happens, you plateau at a certain point where you're like, okay, I'm just not gonna flip out anymore. I'm just gonna I'm just not. I don't know. Like it just I don't even know why I can't muster the energy, or no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to live that. It's kind of like change your mind, change your reality sort of thing. And so it's like if I just don't react to this negatively, perhaps I can overcome the emotional damage. Does that make any sense? But man, yeah, just there's been a couple car accidents. There's people I know with cancer. There's financial. There's World War III. There's it's just everything's just like ludicrous at the moment. And I'm not even talking about politics, like just shit in my life. It's super fucking weird. Job was the dude where God and Lucifer made a bet that if God didn't protect Job, he would curse God. In other words, can you piss off your dog enough that he turns on you? So I think I could definitely relate to that in the sense that, like, I had a moment today where something happened that was extremely terrible, like bad, and I was like, God, why do you do this to me, or why do you let this happen to me? And then suddenly I had just kind of like a moment where I'm like, why would you blame that on God? Like, well, what's the logic behind that? Where does that come from? That's not, how is that God's fault that that thing happened? And why, and I thought, you know what, it's infantile of me to behave like that. And that's not the kind of relationship that I want to have with God. So I'm not going to act like that. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing to have to say that too. Like, yeah, but I mean, to me, like, spirituality is messy, man. It's messy. It's not like, if you get these crystals and you have happy thoughts and you sit still in the sunshine and blah, blah, blah. I did yoga today and I'm having a strawberry soda and la, la, la. Like, that's not fucking real. That's not real. Like, no. It's fucking painful and it hurts and there's betrayal and there's anger and there's shit flying and there's death and, it's just, you know, that's the real deal stuff. So I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna get real with this too. I'm gonna just not not respond in that way, and because it's like, the old logic, well, getting upset about it's not going to make it better. When you're upset about something, you don't think logically, obviously, you think emotionally, but somehow or other I was able to make that breakthrough, so I'm happy for that. Um, Maybe it's like, okay, how bad can things get before Don changes, Like, how much shit can we dump on him before, like, a real transformation happens? A real transformation. Um, 'Cause I don't like to say this, but I sort of kind of feel that it's suffering that really changes people, I could give you examples, but there's a certain person in my life who was extremely like sociopathic and very psychotic, is just bad, very damaging, very crazy person, caused a lot of trouble for a lot of people. And then this person got cancer and chemotherapy and surgery and and beat it. And but didn't, I don't wasn't quite enough to change her, and so she got it again. Not like that's why, maybe it is why she got it. I don't know. And then, okay, she same thing, chemo and surgery and change of life, blah, 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 blah. And then, one more really horrible, like she almost died in another situation. And finally, she's like, all right, I'm not going to be that person anymore. I feel like, and I told her, like, you cheated death 3 times. People don't have that. They don't get that kind of luck. Like, God is giving you chances after chances, even though you're suffering like crazy. Like, let yourself transform, let it go. And somehow through realizing that life is so, what's the word, fragile, I guess, and fleeting, that she's not going to be negative anymore to the extent that, she can humanly, And so far, so good. It's been pretty crazy. It's been pretty amazing. And I never ever would have believed that I would have seen the day, So I'm inspired by that. It's quite beautiful. You guys look like you're talking here. When is your book going to come out? It's like the same. The question is like, when will God release me from this hell that I'm in? And then it's like, oh, why blame that on God? You just said da 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 da. But like, you have to sort of ask yourself, like, how did I get here? Like, why am I in the circumstances that I'm in? And you can't. You can say that, here are the reasons for it, but in the end of the day, really, there were choices that you made, and those choices killed you in the end. But if on my gravestone or whatever, you can write, life gives you the most important choices when you're least able to make them. And then just to have like a picture of my finger to life like that on the grave. And then, because I'll be so happy to be out of here, man. I'll be so happy. Um, but where am I going with this? I lost my point. When is your book coming out? When the fucking nightmare ends is when the book comes out. So you don't know what that is, but there's just a lot of shit on my plate. I'll just put it this way. I happen to be in a situation very recently where I have time to do this again and get back into this, which is why you're seeing me do this now. So I'm praying that I can just kind of squeeze it out and squeeze it out. I've got some really, really serious priorities that I have to manage, and that I mean, I'm literally, things have been so bad in my life in the past several months that I'm literally considering quitting art. Do you understand what I'm saying? that's like cutting my eyes out basically and saying like I'm just throwing them away. I mean, it's that fucking bad. You know what I mean? So I can't, like, I want to do this, obviously, but apparently I'm not allowed to be who I am in this world. That's the answer to the fucking question. Job is the polar opposite of Prometheus. Whoa. Wow, I need you to expand on that. That's a really profound thing to say. Jason G and Alexander Dugan. Who's Jason G? I know I'll be like, oh, Jason G, but with Giorgiani, you mean, 'cause if you're talking about Giorgiani, it's a J. So, but I don't know who Jason G is. Anyway, Ezra St. White, thank you for joining us tonight on this marvelous, uplifting show of live art and philosophical conversation. It happens. There you go. Alexander Dugan are both philosophers. So Dugan is really controversial. I don't know how he got into our spheres, to be honest. I'm like, how is Dugan like a name in the white identity movement? Somebody explain that to me. I'm not like I hate the guy or something. I'm not sort of saying that. I don't entirely know much about him, other than a couple interviews I've seen. Somebody showed me a photo of him that appears that he was or is in some kind of like a Satanist group. I don't know. Was he at a costume party? Was it for real? I don't know. I kind of don't care, to be honest. I mean, I know who the real Satanists are, and it's not him. But I know that he's interested in like a pan-Eurasianism, meaning like he wants Russia to be the global hegemony. So what? I mean, why? Of course he does. It's like people want power. They want power and influence like that. I don't fault him for that. But I don't know really anything about him as a philosopher, though. Maybe you could toss out some gems for me here. Jason J, yes, Jason Giorgiani. Giorgiani, I mean, I've been singing his praises for quite a while here. I'd like to, I don't have enough. I had like 95,000 views on my channel. I recently got like an award for that from YouTube. I have like, I don't know, like over 2,500 followers, which is peanuts in the YouTube world. It's not like a big whoop, but I'm going to be learning more about marketing and things of that nature. So I think I'll be able to eventually get back to working this page working YouTube and getting some content out. I hope to. I want to. So let's hope that 2015. Did I say 2015? Holy shit, 2025. See, that's where I'm at. I'm living in the past. Let's hope that this coming year is like a big new year, and I can do good stuff and get back at it and da 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 da. If not, who gives a shit? I don't know. So, anger. Who's that guy? Who's the singer for the Sex Pistols? He has a song, Anger is an Energy. I think that's pretty funny. I mean, it's not funny, haha. It's like, there's something to it. Like, that's kind of a cool thing. I was talking to this girl that I go out with. We're not going out, okay, but we meet up at clubs and stuff. She's like my fun club friend girl. And she's very similar to me in certain ways. Like she's unique, artistic. She's a Scorpio. She's just a real unique gal. We get along really well, have a good time, and we're talking about our problems and shit and blah blah blah. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so depressed," da, da, da. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not depressed anymore. I'm angry. I'm not like serious anger problems. I'm really, really, really fucking angry. And I feel like that's the next phase. Like when you know, whatever is hurting you in life, you get to a point where like that's such an unjust thing. It's such a terrible thing, and it's so unjust. It's so wrong. And then the natural reaction to that is to be fucking angry at it. It's like and there you go. What else have we got here? Let me scroll down. Nothing. We got something. Anyway, it's okay. Ezra, tell me more about yourself. What are some shows that you like to watch? What are some influencers that you're into? In fact, everybody, if you want to type a couple names of like shows that you could recommend for me, like I was talking earlier, there's a dude, good friend of mine. He's like one of us. He's not really a racialist, but he doesn't deny that, if that makes any sense. He's just pretty hardcore into like all things conspiracy related. Um, yeah, and so he's the guy that's getting me into like more health related content, videos and Rumble shows and stuff. He's like a huge Rumble viewer, you know, which I think is a culture in itself. Think about that. Like people that just watch Rumble, they're kind of like, I don't mean this. I'm not laughing at him, but I mean like, they're sort of like Patriot. I don't want to say Q, but like they kind of have that like they still have one foot in normie world, but they somehow found a rabbit hole, and they're like super cool in terms of like, holy shit, I'm finding out all this interesting stuff that is hidden from the mainstream, and this is so exciting, I gotta get this out to the world, and da 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 da. And we were all like that at one point, and that's a good energy, that's a good thing. And I'm not trying to be condescending to him or something by saying that. But to me, the difference between like us and normies is that we are racial and we are honest about the JQ. And until you reach the end of the rainbow and you're finally able to be a man and a real man and actually speak the truth about those things, because all the data bears it out, then you're still just a normie. So sad. You're just a normie. I'm gonna write a song. Oh, girl. You're just a normie. We can't be together. Oh my God. So funny. I'm so funny. Oh my God. Who knew? Who knew I was so funny? Holy Shibitskis. Anyway. Yeah, man. There you go. All right, wow. Now we got some comments. Thank you. Let's get some action here. I can't just listen to myself talking all the fucking time. Job's friends told him he must have done something. Job denied it and started to have doubts about God. God visited him and called him a little bug. What? And asked him who is he to question him. Job folded. Interesting. Why would God call him a bug though, right? I mean, is it Yahweh or is it the real God? Do you know where I'm going with this? So, like, as a Gnostic, I don't totally know that I believe this, but I kind of think that maybe Yahweh is the demiurge. If not, Yahweh is really just a kind of an angry God and a minor God that is, I don't know, like a jealous God, kind of, and like a loving God is not going to say, "Oh, you're just a bug." I'm going to wager that with the devil whether or not you're worthy of me. It's not what God would do. If I guess it depends on your definition of God, though, right? Like when I used to teach in a certain school that I used to teach in, I met uh, a there's a guy, he was from Egypt, and he was Muslim, and he was the Arabic teacher, one of the Arabic teachers at the school. And this particular guy was pretty cool. We were very friendly with each other. He invited me to his house for food and kind of wanted me to sort of be a part of his family and stuff. And I actually regret not doing that. Um, Believe it or not, I actually had an Egyptian girlfriend years ago in college. She was actually like a visiting professor. That's another story. Anyway, why can I not go off on tangents? I don't know. So, um, wow. Okay, so my point is, I'm trying to get to this. So, he explained to me that according to Muslims, we are the slaves of God. And I'm like, well, to Christians, we're the children of God. And I'm like, wow, what a difference. Like to see yourself as the child of God versus the slave of God. What a difference in, you know, I don't know, just the whole view of reality and your existence and your behavior, your relationship to God. I mean, what the fuck is it about people in the Middle East and slavery and that kind of thing? Like, because I don't know, man. There's something really, really dark about people who believe in slavery. I mean, fuck, dude. That's some sick ass shit, dude. That's some really inhumane, evil shit right there. But like, it's just a normal part of their culture. Is it Islam? Did Islam do that to the Middle Easterners, or is this just normal for who they are culturally? That's a pretty heavy question. Um, I don't know, but that flipped me out actually when he told me that. I was like, okay, if that's how you view the world, that like I am the willing slave of God, and I'm God's slave, it's very that to me that's extremely troubling. Like holy shit, that's very troubling. Um, and that's not even remotely how I view God. Um, I always say that God is the sum of all consciousness, and that I'm coming more and more into alignment with the idea that everything's mind. Your soul is really your mind. Um, what is it that experiences things? Your mind. Your consciousness and your mind aren't the same, so that you could kind of go into some minutia on debating those things, but and we can go there if you want. Maybe I'll have Jason Giorgiani on to go down that rabbit hole. But wow, why can't I answer things simply? I got a disease or something. Robert says I like Weston Paradigm on Odyssey. He has a pretty good show. He's a pretty good guy too. I'm friends with him in Arsene. Oh, really cool. Is he? I'm assuming it's like white positive content. Let's see. A Hippocratic oath says Prometheus's friends visited him on the rock and told him to tell the big boy Zeus he's sorry. Prometheus told his friends to tell Zeus he cares less than nothing for his favor. Ooh. This is the difference between the Christian and the Greek view of God. Christians worship God, and the Greeks treat him as an older, sometimes abusive brother. Fascinating. Fascinating. This is quite, Nietzsche loved the Greeks. He was like, you know, like really into the Greeks. And I think I had better do my own research then. Maybe I need to go down the Greek rabbit hole, and start kind of getting into that. There's only so many freaking hours in the day, though, right? um, okay, let's move on here. Robert Pyle says you do understand that Greeks are Christians, right? Um, yeah, the Christian question. It's a big one. It's a big one. Bigly. Anyway, I gotta say I'm getting a bit tired here, gents. It's like 11:19 in my world over here, so I might have to wrap it up. I hate to deny you my amazing hot takes and deep, thoughtful comments and inspiring complaints about nihilistic hatred of the system and all of these things. But I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. So I apologize. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll be back, and maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get hit by a car tomorrow. Who knows? If so, then I just want to say I love you all and thank you for coming.